Streamer started. Tap here to interact with your viewers. Okay. Heavy breathing commence. Let me go to my YouTube to see if I actually am streaming. Breathing heavy, baby. Let me click on this. Oh, there's an ad. That'll give me some money. It always says Secret Warriors on my videos. I don't know why, but that'll give me some money. Yep, it's going. Okay, I'm going on my end. So, and then we'll get going. Double broadcast, baby. I guess I'll post on the social medias. Let me go back to it. This is all the behind the scenes stuff for people that are watching now. I used to watch you in 2012. Copy link. Tweeter. Paste the Twitter link. Come join at Jonathan Rector. And I shoot. Yep, chatting and drawing comics live. Capital. And then we'll copy that. Tweet that. Facebook. Now that's a link to my YouTube, so if you want a link to yours. Well, I'm drawing Marvel Comics over here, so. Sexy, right? Especially right here. Look at that. Look at that tattoo. Alright, I'll post on my main Facebook as well. This is Omelette. How do I post on my own wall? I'm such an old man now. I don't know if I can do anything. Alright, here we go. Yeah, it's been a while. Alright, I'm ready to go. Everything's on social media. Dog is in my lap. I've got a nice raspberry and vodka drink next to me. Ready to go. Nice sip, not coffee. Belvedere. Look at those Dragon Ball Z muscles. Oh, yeah. I'm so tall and don't know which screen to follow. Well, Richard, try and get both up on two different devices and mute one of them. I wish I could see what you were doing. Oh, wait, hang on, I can! I have YouTube on my TV. Oh my god, this is going to be great. I'm going to mute my TV. This is great. Technology. I'm going to go to Jonathan Rector. It's not stupid. John. Oh, this is great. I'm going to be able to see what you're doing. This is so cool. Remember when we used to have to draw with freaking plugs? Oh, look at you with your little glove. Oh, I can see what you're doing. This is so fucking cool. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot I swear. This is really that picture of you with your little blue glove drawn away. Like, life is great. Okay, so should we officially begin now and now everything's set up? I know, but I mean like properly start instead of just gabbing. All right. Well, welcome to Scribble Chat. Is that what we used to call it? Scribbles with Jonathan? No, that's the name of your channel, isn't it? Um, Doodle Dudes. Doodle Dudes. It's been a while. I mean, me and John we always chat periodically. More recently, which has been nice, as you've been sort of inspired and properly drawing. Look at that sexy Jack Kirby-esque thing you're drawing. That looks great. Look at that mecha arm. It's grabbing my soul and saying, "Look at me, this is great." For those just joining, I know I haven't posted a YouTube video in a very long time, but working full time in comics, you can't necessarily always share what you're drawing because you can get in trouble. So I'm drawing I'm inking some stuff that is for the Future Foundation for Marvel Comics. Launches in August, and I think I can share this stuff because there's no giant plot stuff that I'm showing, so it's fine. Yeah, it will be absolutely fine. I just realised that this makes no sense. I'm going to put this over this. Will is in a great mood today, and I'm guessing Jonathan just woke up. Well, we are in different time zones. It is 4:23 in the afternoon here. Oh yeah, so no raspberry and vodka for you then. I forgot. Do you drink or do you not drink? Not to get drunk, but to enjoy the taste of like a nice drink. Oh, nice. Now, what time does it start for you in your time zone? So I can't watch it because that'll be 12:30, and I go to bed at 10 because I'm an old man. Yeah, I'm kind of sad that the Hangman page and pack got cancelled because they really built that up on BTE. But that's okay. Hopefully, good stuff happens. Again, if you hear snoring in the background, that's my dog in my lap. 1 in the night for me it starts. Yeah, it's probably about the same for me as well. I'm just going to watch it the next day, but I have to wait until my fiance gets back because I want her to watch it because we like to watch some wrestling together. She doesn't watch like Raw or SmackDown, but we watch every pay per view together. Again, that yeah. Well, the quality has gone downhill. Again, that's not farts in the background. That is my dog snoring. Richard said Raw has got incredibly bad as of late. That's very true. It's a shame because I used to watch wrestling back in the Attitude Era days, and then when the brand split happened, I sort of dripped off a bit. Thank you very much, Luna. Can you stop snoring like that, please? No, okay. So I kind of drifted off, and then I always watch. I like to watch basketball. I'm really enjoying the semifinals right now, and I only can watch it through like streaming websites. And I was on a stream website, and they said, "Hey, live right now is Monday Night Raw," and I was like, "Oh my god." I haven't thought about Monday Night Raw in a long time, and this was back in 2015. And I chucked it on, and there was Daniel Bryan, and I was having a good time, and I was like, okay. And then I fully got into it, and that was the time when Seth Rollins like was Money in the Bank and all this stuff, and it was good. And then since then, it's just gotten worse and worse and worse. Except for NXT, which is always just really good wrestling. Yeah, yeah. So should we talk about some art? I think it's fun though. I think it's a cool idea. It's almost like I'm WCW and you're Monday Night Raw. There you go. You have to switch in between. No, it's the Monday Night Wars of comics right now. I just shook her. Bubba, you're gonna have to leave my lap. I'm sorry. I'm gonna have to kick you off the sofa. There you go. Go find someone else to sleep, baby girl. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But you're just so annoying. You know what's ridiculous is that she sits in my lap all day. She doesn't snore like that. It's only if I'm doing something important that she's like, oh, yeah. Oh, she's just staring at me now with these eyes, saying, "You motherfucker." So, you've been inspired by Kickstarter comics recently. Woo! hmm At at the end of the day, working for Marvel it's a job. Like you're drawing comics for a living, but it is a job. I'm drawing someone else's story. I'm not, someone else's characters. Like, yeah, I get to do some cool stuff. Like, I got to design costumes for this new book, and that's pretty cool because you see, potentially cosplayers dressing as these people or action figures and all that great stuff. And obviously, working in Marvel is a dream. And there's lots of, every now and then you get to do some cool stuff. Like, I know I'm going to be able to draw Captain America coming up in a couple of months for something that I can't talk about, and he's my favorite Marvel character, so that's just like I'm getting paid to draw Captain America. This is awesome, and it's an original costume and all that stuff, so that's great. But at the end of the day, deadlines are crazy at Marvel, and that's the way it is. It's monthly comics. People want their comics every month, so if you don't work, you don't get paid, and if you don't work, you get a reputation of not working and handing stuff in on time. And like, I just bought a house, and I have a wedding next month, and I'm moving, and the pressure of all of that, like, all of this balances on me sitting in front of a tablet and scribbling a bunch of lines. So the anxiety can be pretty crazy, and bad reviews and all that stuff. So at the end of the day, it is a job. Um, and you got to treat it like that. You got to wake up. You got to work. And I'm guilty of, like I told you, freaking yesterday. I hope my editor isn't listening, but I spent the whole day Do you want to see? Oh, you can actually see it in good quality now. Here's what I did yesterday, everybody. You see this dinosaur here? This pixel dinosaur? I'm following on your screen. There it is. It popped up. Right, you ready? You ready for this awesomeness? Look at this guy. Look at him walk. There he goes. You see them? Well, I don't want to hype it up too much, but in my spare time, I am. Whoa, what's all that fancy stuff on your screen with a picture of like my art and Robson ink and stuff? Wow, that looks awesome. So yeah, I'm in the background of work. I am beginning to create my own video game, and it's based on a property of mine, Dino Zombies, Zombie Dinosaurs, copyright Will Robson, and yeah. So in the game, it's going to be like a Streets of Rage style game, a beat 'em up, and in this game, you're going to fight dinosaur zombies and regular zombies. So I was working on an idle animation here. He's a bit too animated here, but you get the idea. But that walk, I was so satisfied with that because it's the first time I made an animation that looked smooth. Because before I think I remember that one animation I sent you of that guy walking, and he looked like he was like doing the Hitler march. Like it looked terrible. Yeah, it is a lot of work, but at the same time, it's different. So it feels different from my regular work. And like so, basically, I took off work yesterday, and it took me all day to do that little animation there. But you know what? My soul is happy for it, so I'm back now doing the old regular work. Yeah, I had one thing pop up where someone said you couldn't get Google Hangouts to work. No, we couldn't figure it out. If I was on my computer like I used to be, it would be fine because it would just share the screen. But since I'm on an iPad, it's a bit different. It seems like this Omelette Arcade is the only thing that works with sharing screen for iPad. Yeah, it seems ridiculous, but whatever. At least we got Clip Studio on here. That's pretty incredible. Well, thank you, Richard. Do I plan to be a pro in 3 years? What- that's the magic number to go pro. If you sit down and study, um, then that's when you can break in. I think that's the number that David Finch said. He's like, I said to my parents, I'm going to study, and I studied for 3 years, and I broke in. And the same thing happened with so many other artists where they're like, I just sat down and I said I'm going to study, and that's why I was like, hey, that's what I'm going to do. I think you could hear me talk about it on the old episodes of this. And guess what? It works. Hang on. So, my fiance is sending me pictures of her like trying on dresses, and I don't want them to pop up on stream. I was like, you're on stream, and she's like, oh my god. when it comes out. Coming soon. Just go, just going back a bit. When I say 3 years, 3 years is the magic number to if you draw every single day, all day for 3 years, then you will get good enough to be able to draw like some semi or professional looking stuff. I think that's how long it takes. It takes about 1,000 days of drawing all day every day to learn the ropes enough. Like I don't, even though I work professionally in comics, I don't really consider myself a super like professional because that will take years and years and years to get like as good as like my heroes. But I think 3 years is a very solid number. 1,000 days of working all day every day to get to a level where your artwork looks acceptable enough for comics. I mean, Jesus, it's 2019, and I started helping you out on the standard in 2014, and I don't know if you looked at that art, but it is like dog poo. And that's what, 5 years ago. So yeah, it's and that's when I was 1 year into like trying to draw comics professionally. So it's just time, patience, and commitment and stuff like that. It's the same as anything. You could lose weight that way and all that crap. You gotta want it. Well, it depends on how much money I had at the time. Sorry, repeat the question. I'm trying to kick my dog away. I'm getting so many distractions. If I had lots of money, then yeah, I would switch focus. I mean, depending on how much time I had. I mean, I'm not going to write my 100 issue epic because I don't think I can even do that in my lifetime. But I don't know. That's a messed up question. I don't think I'd even start drawing comics. I think I'd focus on other stuff in life. Go sit in a field for 30 days. If I only had 10 days, it's not worth it doing my other stuff. So I'd probably try and get like my last published work out there. I guess I don't know. I feel like I'm not answering this question properly. Am I? Like, yeah. Well, the goal for me will always be to eventually, in whatever medium, to write and produce my own content. That's the dream, and a lot of artists don't have that. A lot of artists are happy just hey, I'm drawing Future Foundation. That's awesome. That's what I'm doing. I'm ready to go. But I really want to be a comic book writer, and I want to write my own stories and draw my own stories. I want to write my own games and draw my own games, and And I hate just being like, I want to do this and not doing anything about it. So that's why I've started doing little bits and bobs here and there. I'm doing that classic, like I've been working on Leave None Alive a little bit, and I've just been doing such bare minimum. I've been doing 10 minutes a day because I'm like 10 minutes a day. That's more than I would have ever done before. And I don't know the math of that over a year, but I'm sure that it's a good couple days, so that's good. It's better than nothing. No, I like the 10 minutes because I just jump in there. I'm like, what's going on? All right, I'm going to draw this like face. And then 10 minutes are up. I'm like, okay, I'll see you tomorrow. I like it. It's fun. The problem I'm having with this game stuff is I'm finding that I want to do it all day over anything else. And I've had a couple of days where I've done that. And I've had now, after yesterday, I've now forced myself to be like, you cannot work on this game until you finish this issue of comics because now it is affecting your work and your life. Oh yeah, yeah, it's very real. I mean, so I just came off of Spawn, and that was a great experience because obviously McFarlane's a huge hero of mine. And even though I drew a poopy fart joke book, it was still a really interesting experience, especially since the scripts were all Marvel method, so they were super loose and open and stuff. And the thing I found about that book is that he was like, "Oh, whatever, bud. You just, we if we can get the book at this time, that'd be great." The deadlines were really open, and he pays a lot more than Marvel Comics. So I kind of, did. I didn't work as hard for a while because I was like, "Well, what's the point?" And it was great. I think I was producing 2.5 pages a week, and I had a lot of downtime to experience life a bit, and get out there, play some video games, go out drinking, and like it was a good time. And in the end, it was like, all right, well, I need to wrap this up and speed up and everything like that. And now coming from that back to Marvel, where it's like you need to draw a comic in 5 weeks. I'm just like, oh my god, like it's so tough now because now I'm working weekends and I wake up and then start drawing comics, and then by the time I'm asleep, I'm still drawing comics, and it's the grind. I'm back at the grind. You know what I do a lot of? I can actually show it. What I do. This is what I do. Let's let's say right now. Okay, I'll wait. Let's say right now I'm like, do you know what? Oh, I'm sick of this. I don't want to ink any of this. I'm fed up. What I do is I shut this, and first of all, my background is of an image that I penciled that Tom McFarlane inked, so that's automatically like, right, look what you've done. Keep going, because you can keep doing shit like that. But what I do is I open Comixology, and hopefully this won't give away any information. And look what I got up already, some Spawn. And all I do is I flip through this, and I zoom in on stuff. I'm like, oh, look at those teeth. That's so cool. Look at this shot. And then I look at this, and I keep scrolling through, and I'm like, oh, look at these panel layouts. This is really cool. And then I just start seeing art that really inspires me, and I think, oh man, now I want to draw. And I do this anything. I got yeah. Let's look at some John Romita Jr., shall we? The man. I just. This is John Romita Jr. Yep, it was fantastic coloring as well. I think it's the same colors that work with him on the. Oh no, what you're seeing right there, the old stuff. No, that's not. Yeah, yeah. And I just flipped through this stuff, and I mean, for me, the best thing for me to look at is Greg Capullo. That's what really freaking inspires me, especially. All right, so I especially like going to all this Batman stuff here. As you can see, I have them all downloaded because I just love to scroll through this stuff and get inspired. And that's the thing, you just got to look at. I mean, this guy right here, this book, this Batman book, is the reason why I wanted to draw comics in the first place. I can actually go to the actual thing. If I go to this book here, I think my what I'm saying is delayed on John's page. I mean his stream. So this comic right here, it was 2011, I believe, and I was going to university, and I walked into a town, and this is my university town, and I was like, oh, there's a comic shop here. I used to love reading comics, and like every now and then, I'd read like Long Halloween or classic stuff like that. And I was always interested in comics, and I always doodled in my notebooks and stuff. But then I was in a comic shop, and I saw this image right here. This image of Batman on the ground and a night owl behind him. And I was like, whoa, that looks like Todd McFarlane, because I've always been a huge Todd McFarlane fan as a kid. So I saw this image, and I picked up the comic, and I was like, do you have the rest of these? Because I think this is like issue 4. And the guy went, yep. So I picked them all up, and I just started reading this comic. Oh, it's sick. You can see the black and white here. And there's just something really spoke to me about this artwork, where I was like, this is the greatest artwork I've ever seen. Not even just comics, but in general. So just something about this artwork really spoke to me. Especially if I go to... I hope I'm not going to get in trouble for showing all this comic stuff. I'm sure it's fine. This book sold like so many copies anyway. If I go to stuff like this, seeing the way he drew people and their expressions of like, look at Alfred like with a little smirk, and people shaking hands, and just all the body language, and yeah, I don't know, it just really spoke to me, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I want to draw like this, and I don't want to do anything else. So that's what inspired me to go and everything. And now I still hop back into it and look at it because it does the same thing. I look at this and I'm like, this is the best. I want to draw like that. So I get back to it, and that's how we do it. Mm-hmm. All I say is, it's different, a little bit different for me because I live in the UK and Marvel pays in dollars. So that money gets translated along the way, and banks take a little cut of it, etc., in translation. So I don't actually make too much money because of where I live, and that does frustrate me. I know it frustrates my dog as well, as you can hear her snoring in the background. So that is slightly frustrating because basically the number that they say, I essentially get nearly a little more than half of that, and that's soul crushing because I was like, man, if I lived in America, then or Canada, then I'd be making a lot more money. But regardless, am I rich? Hell no, not at all. I make above minimum wage, and I'm happy what I'm doing. You know, I make not comfortable, but I make enough that it's yeah, I make an acceptable amount for the work I do. Do I think I should make more? Hell yeah, I do, because I work all the time. But the difference is that when you work for Marvel, there's royalty schemes. So, for instance, when I did Great Lakes Avengers, I believe that the trade paperback sold well. So suddenly one Christmas, I looked in my bank account and there was a couple grand in there. I was like, "Whoa, what's this?" And it was like, "You made royalties off of Great Lakes Avengers." And I was like, "Okay, sweet, I'll take free money." Um, and the thing is if you, the basically is any issue that sells over 50,000 copies, single issue, the artist is going to make a royalty off of it. And I've never done a book that sold over 50,000 copies, and that's a single issue. So the big guys that are drawing monthly comics that sell over 50,000, they're making a hell of a lot of money because um, they get more royalties, and that's a great thing. But the thing is that I think how many monthly comics sell over 50,000? Probably 50 out of, I don't know, 200 or 300. So it's only like 50 people making that money. Um, for instance, yeah. So for instance, like someone like Ryan Stegman, his Venom book's been extremely popular and selling really well. So I'm sure he's doing financially great. The guy who drew Star Wars when that launched at Marvel, that sold over 1 million copies. So that guy made a lot in royalties. So it's a weird situation. You get your paycheck for your pencils and inks, etc. And then if your book sells a certain amount, you get royalties. That's the way it works. And Image was different because I was with McFarlane. He pays his own set rate, and he's very generous with what he pays. And I don't even know if I have a royalty scheme with that. I think I do, but I don't. It just depends on the sales of the book, etc. So it's all different in comics. If you live in North America, uh, I'll just chuck a number out there. That don't quote me on this or anything. You'll probably make anywhere from 35 to 50,000 a year. Maybe less, maybe 25. It also depends on how fast you are. If I was quick, I could be making a lot of money. If I was actually producing a monthly comic, because even though I'm drawing a monthly comic, I can only produce an issue every 5 to 6 weeks, and that's why people get filler and artists and all that stuff. So, I mean, yeah, you can. I would say the base salary for drawing at professionally in comics for anything Marvel, IDW, they all pay differently. I would say the base salary is probably 20 to 25 grand at the absolute lowest, and then from there, if you're Greg Capullo, you could be earning like 6 figures a year, and if you are the guy who draws The Walking Dead, Charlie Adlard, then you earn 1 million a year doing the same exact job. So that's the exciting thing about comics is it does actually push you to be like, well, I want to be making tons of money doing the same exact thing I do. So like recently, I've just been on a kick to make my art look as good as possible because I want to pull in those numbers and I want to and not only that, but it's cool that I'm drawing the Future Foundation. I love this book. The writer's amazing. I love him, and it's been really good. And it's been a good experience because we've been chatting, and he's actually asked, like, this is the first time I've ever been on a book where the writer's like, well, what do you want to draw? What characters do you like? I'm like, oh my god, thank you for including me in the process. Like, it feels like a proper team, and the editor's been really nice, and yeah, it's been a good experience. But at the end of the day, if you ask me, would you rather draw um, the Future Foundation, or would you rather draw your own Punisher Wolverine team up book? I mean, what do you think I'm going to choose? And there are people that get to get handed those books because they're at the top of their field and they know that they'll sell well and everyone will make money and they'll also produce really good stuff. So I want to get to that. That's my new goal in comics is I'm not happy with where I am in the business. I'm very fortunate that, I get to do one, work in this business, but also fortunate that Marvel believes in me enough that I get to be the main artist on a book. I mean, that's incredible. Like I am the main artist on Future Foundation. That's freaking awesome. I was the main artist on um, Great Lakes Avengers. That also is awesome because not a lot of people even get to do that. So I feel very privileged, but also happy that I spent the time crafting my talents to the point where I could do this stuff. But it's not enough for me. I want to get to, I want to be a household comic book name. I want you to go, my top 5 favorite artists are Greg Capullo, Jim Lee, Frank Miller, and Will Robson. Like, that's what I want. And I'm only going to be able to do. No. Well, I'm only going to be able to do that if I keep studying and keep pushing myself. Because I tell you, working in comics, I've been working now for nearly 4 years in, you know, professional comics, and uh, you do sort of, you get comfortable. You're like, oh, this is just my life. It's just my job, and you forget, like, no, it's like art. It's a passion. You want to get better and all this stuff. Because once you get accepted into the business, you're like, hey, I don't need to get any better now because it's good enough, professionally. So you do have to, find time to improve your work, and that's what I've been doing. When I have little bits of time off in between books, I like to sit down, study, and go, what are my flaws? What do I need to improve on? And then I work from there. One thing I'd like to do eventually is not do what I'm doing right now, which is using a brush on a digital platform. I'd like to get back to just penciling straight up, no inking, on a piece of paper, and that's it. But that's going to take me years and years and years to get comfortable enough to do that. Like, I could do that right now, but I don't, want to right now. Anyway, I'm going to shut up now because my mouth is dry. Oh, no, fuck that. You're you're the reason, like one of the biggest reasons that you helped me so much out, and like when I was like, "Hey, I'm a little artist, and can you help me draw? What's wrong with this figure? Can you help me, Jonathan? Hey, I just started using Clip Studio. I love your videos. Can you help? You helped me through all that awkward time, so thank you so much. You've always made it in my book, John. Alexandre asked, "What am I drawing?" I'm drawing Future Foundation issue 1. You goddamn right I am. Do you remember? Do you know what I was just thinking about recently? Do you remember when I held out, like people would held out, like I'm not upgrading to the new manga studio. Like 4 is the best one. Do you remember that? Oh, my brother says on my stream he can't hear you at all. Oh, that's really annoying. Well, if anybody's watching on my channel, just go watch on John's. Like, if you can't hear what I'm saying, then what's the point? I think this is going to be a dual monitor situation. So that was my brother that said that. Go over to John Rector's channel so you can hear what he's saying. That's he said it sounds like I'm talking to myself and I look like a lunatic. Well, great. That sucks. But well, I have headphones in. If I unplug hang on. So unplug the headphones. Speak. Can you hear now? Is that okay? Can you hear that, audience? Keep speaking, John. You really can't hear that? A little bit. Right, that's what I was trying to avoid. Well, I'll keep my stream going, but they can just audience. You'll just have to listen to me sound like a lunatic talking to myself. Unless I just repeat everything you say. Exactly. Yep. That's so true. And you know what? Marvel and DC are looking for you because they love that. They want people that only want to, you know, do that stuff. It depends on what you want to do, right? I just I just got a question on my channels asking from NM Comics. How am I making my own video game? I'm using a program called Unity. Unity! And I know nothing about it. I don't know anything about coding, so I'm learning as I go. Just like comics. But I'm using Clip Studio to do all the art assets because it has animation in it, which is pretty cool. That sounds very old school. Like I remember Xenoscope and what's the image imprint with Mark Silvestri? That's not Xenoscope, right? That's a different thing. I thought they make comics. I guess maybe I'm getting my words mixed. Anyway, I remember there's a guy on YouTube. I forgot his name. It's like something like the Hollywood artist or something. You did a video on his channel. Box office artist. If you listen to his story, he used to like work with people that did backgrounds. Like he used to be a background comic book artist for a comic book company, and I think that I don't know if that even exists anymore. It might do, but I don't know anybody that does that personally. But it's pretty cool. Hell, I would love more people doing that. If there was an issue where I was like, can we just get someone to draw the backgrounds? Like, I don't want to do this. That'd be cool. Like, I'm drawing a background right now. I'd rather be drawing figures. A Marvel book. Why have you never told me this? I know you did stuff for a DC book, but not a Marvel book. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah, like I funnily enough, the other day I nearly thought of contacting you for some help, but I was like, yeah, but it's uncredited, and I feel bad about that, so I didn't. And you're also making you're making contacts with someone that's in the business, which is always good. Oh, I love Kim Jong Un. I've got um, I've got something by him. I think I have a big art book by him or something. Oh, right, it's King Jong G, isn't it? God damn it. Now I just feel ignorant. Yeah, it's an exciting new venture for me. Because over the past 2 years, I've now become a collector of retro video games and a big video game collector because I've always loved the 16-bit era, and a couple bits after that, and I love arcades, and I'd love to make my own game that I would have played in the arcades when I was like a 4-year-old in the '90s. So how cool would that be? So I'm trying it out and having fun, and that's the point. That's the main thing. Yeah. So that wasn't great. And also, yeah, that's the thing is like when I can cut myself some time to work on my game. If I had to suddenly draw like figures the way I'm drawing them right now, I would not do it. Like, ugh, it's like the same. That's why I only do 10 minutes a day of Leaving Unalive because I drew this all day. That you're like, I don't want to freaking do this anymore. But pixel art, there's something that's different about it. There's something that's nostalgic about it, and the excitement of getting good at doing it and having that as a skill set. Although it's a really useless skill set, it's very exciting for me because I'm like, you're drawing in the way that you used to play video games as a kid. There's something really cool about that. Exactly. So it's so in the vein of that. Like I love, if I had to say like an art style that I'm going for that I love, it's anything from Capcom from like 1990 to 2004. Like Final Fight, Marvel vs. Capcom, Marvel superheroes, the fighting game. The way those characters are drawn, I mean, that's still a big art influence today. I know both you and we did the same thing where we paused. I paused Marvel superheroes. I think you may have paused Marvel vs. Capcom and then drew them as kids, like that type of stuff. But but to draw that type of stuff in the exact art style, whew, it's pretty cool. No, you could definitely earn money, especially in comics. Like I said, there's a guy in the same country as me earning £1 million a year doing the same thing I'm doing. So you can make money. Yeah. Yeah, it's all passion. It's all want, need, desire. Like, it's not like I just walked up to Marvel and slapped a portfolio down, and they like were like, "Oh my god, I love you!" Like, this is amazing. Yeah, exactly. It was a long process. I've been denied by so many comic book companies. Like, I nearly drew Batman as my first book, um, like 4 years ago, and it was all set in stone. And they're like, "Yep, after Christmas, we're gonna start you on this Batman book." I'm not gonna say which one. So I was living it up that Christmas, and then after Christmas, like, yeah, we gave it to somebody else, and we don't think you're ready, so sorry. And like that was a point where I nearly gave up. I was like, fuck this, but I didn't, and I kept going, and things worked out. So yeah, you got to keep going. Like look at like Greg Capullo is a great example. That dude tried to break into Marvel Comics for like 9 years, and that's how long it took him, and then he finally did. That's a commitment. 9 years. Like I was nearly out on year 4. I was like, I'm done. Or year 3. No, it was year 4. Oh well, no, it wasn't. I don't know. I'm getting old. Like yeah, if you want it, you'll go for it. 21. Wow, is that it? That's crazy. But then you gotta consider trades as well. Like I know it's ending now, but could you stop farting, John, please? Um, but so saying yeah. So books like uh, Squirrel Go. Sadly, that book's ending now. But if you looked at the monthly sales for the single issues, they were nothing. They were so low. But the trade sales were huge, so that's why that book continued to be successful. And trade sales, you also make royalties off of. I don't know how many issues or how many copies need to be sold to make royalties, but it ain't like it used to be. Like I saw a video with McFarlane, and he talked about the early days of Image, where he'd hire like this young kid to draw like an issue of an Image comic, and we're talking like prime Image, like 90, late 91, 92. And he'd be like, these kids, like, they draw one issue, one single issue, and they'd make $200,000. And he's like, and then you'd never hear from them because they're running off and like, you know, being on holiday and buying cars and stuff. And then suddenly the taxman comes. They didn't realize like that, you had to give a lot of that money to the government. And he's like, yeah, it was crazy, crazy times. And I was like, oh man, I wish I was working then. Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I still the only single issues I buy of comics are the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles series by IDW and anything that Greg Capullo does, and that's it because I want them immediately. Everything else, I get digitally, and sometimes even that stuff I get digitally instead because it depends on where I'm living, how quick I can get to a store. Um, but yeah, that's I think single issues are kind of a niche now, really. And if I have to be honest, my least favorite way to read a comic. Oh yeah, I used to go to when I lived in America. We used to go to this like it was called Jambalaya in New Jersey, and they used to sell baseball cards and bubble gum, and they had like comics and stuff. And I used to go in there, and this is when comics. I mean, how much were they? Like 25 cents or something like that. And there was like a big box. I'm aging myself a bit, but there was like a big box, and there was like John Romita Jr. on Peter Parker Spider Man. I was like, I'll buy like 6 of these, and I'll get like a couple of these. What's this? Punisher, cool. And I loved that. And I do wish that comics were cheaper, but I understand that you know they sell a lot less, so there's not much enough budget to make it cheaper, and yada yada yada. Times have changed, inflation, and all that stuff. But I do like the idea of grabbing that stuff. But at the same time, like you can still go into a comic store and grab a whole bunch of floppies for like 50 cents each. Like you can still do that of those exact comics I picked up as a kid. So there's nothing wrong with doing that. Yeah, yeah. I, most, I mean, when we were kids, well, my brother was always interested in drawing, and I was as well. So we used to just grab comics for freaking the cool art. Like, I didn't read it. I didn't read a comic until I read The Long Halloween, and I was like, whoa, comics are actually really good. I remember I went to my mom and I was like, you should read this. This is like as good as anything that you read. This is quality. She didn't read it. Yeah. She's like, it's Batman. You fool. What, money wise? No, make a lot more. Yeah, I'm on. I don't like to talk numbers because it's none of my business, and I always appreciate. I don't think that those numbers should be available to the public because it's different for every artist, it's different for every book you're on, and it also might create people going like, "This guy makes this much money" when they don't, because everybody's different, everyone gets paid differently, etc. Um, yeah, that's what I've already said before. So, and that's fine. Like you can, like I said, you can live your life making covers because people do that. It's not like there's like John Romita Jr. isn't like freaking cleaning cars on the weekends or anything like that. Like people can make a living. Hmm. Look, I think I'm the best person to say that for uh, nearly 4 years of my life, I was drawing independent comics as my day job. Like I was able to do make. I mean, it was not a living. Like it was, I had the luxury of living on my brother's sofa or living at home with parents and stuff like that. But I was able to do it. Um, yes, I'm using personal version of Unity NM. So there are people out there that want you to draw their comics, and like at that time, I was drawing like 4 comics at once to like make bread. Like I was only earning like 6 to 8 grand a year, but it was enough for me to live off of, and to practice and all that stuff. So if you want to do that, I highly recommend doing that because your day job becomes your training because you're like, well, what one thing annoys me is that people are like, "How do I get better at drawing?" I'm like, "You got to draw all day, every day." And they're like, "Well, I don't want to do that." I'm like, "Well, if you worked in comics, guess what you're going to be doing? You're going to be drawing all day, every day. So if you're not committed to doing that now, then you might as well just find something else to do." I'm sorry, I don't want to distract you from your sexy artwork. Yeah, yeah. Trades out is everything, even though the trade says "Will drawn by Will Robinson" on it. And it hurts my soul because on the spine it says Todd McFarlane and Will Robinson, and I'm like, that's not me. It's not me. I can download Unity, but it says to put in an application. Did it happen to you? If you're trying to get Unity, the way I did it was I looked at a bunch of YouTube videos. Get out there, do the research. It's easy. I think I have a Unity account, but it's all that stuff. I'm not the guy to come to for Unity help. There's millions of YouTube channels on how to make your own video game using Unity, so check that out. I've been following John longer than all of you. John's one of my favorite comic book artists. It's true though. I still rate those standard pages. They're still so tasty. There's no need. You made perfection, so just leave it at that. You really did. So good on you. I don't know. I started following. Oh well, that's okay. You got me beat. I followed John because I started drawing an independent comic which will not be named, um, and I wanted to do digital art for the first time. So I googled how to draw comics digitally, and Freddie Williams stuff popped up, and your stuff popped up, and the rest is history. I would like to know how many people actually work in the Freddie Williams method. I feel like we're the only two people. I don't think even Freddie does it anymore. Yeah. Oh, he's drawn. Of course he is. That's why I think his art style looks really cool and all that original stuff. So that props to him. Like, yeah, print the stuff out that you know is going to sell and keep the rest digital. That's my opinion. Exactly the same. I learned how to do this from watching your YouTube and from reading that DC's Guide to Drawing Comics Digitally. Oh yeah, I remember I fiddled with that back in the day. Yeah, and that's one thing. Like I use the Freddie Williams method, but and I think yours are as well. The process we're both well, actually, I know I'm just doing final links now. The line weight process, not the line weight. Oh, what's the name of it? When you're just doing the deadline. Yeah, line art. Thank you. Sorry, my brain's not working. The line art stage, I actually do. I think mine tighter than you do, and Freddie. And I don't know why, but I just like to do it that way. It helps my brain break stuff up a bit more. I wish I could do it looser, but I've tried and I just can't. That's the only difference I have between you doing it. Mm-hmm. No, that gets you in a hole. That's the type of stuff that causes you to be found rocking back in the corner of a room, like not knowing what you want to do with your art and your life. It's like I love Greg Capullo, but I love John Romita Jr. Oh my god, I don't know who to follow. Do I do tons of render lines or do I do none at all? Oh my god. Do I render like Art Adams or do I render like Tom McFarlane? Oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself. Do go with your heart. That's what I say. Like really? Oh, did you hear Cody say it? That's why I said it. Yeah. That's exactly why I said it. You know what's interesting is like on the book I'm doing now, I've started doing Art Adamsy type, like just a bunch of tiny little lines and create up grey, which I've never really used in my art style before. Occasionally I do it in before, but it was more just like look at this extra detail crap that didn't make any sense. You know, look at these ticks on everything. But now I'm actually doing it for a purpose, and I like the look of it. Like it does make a subtle grey to it, and also I've started actually using grey white noise or noise brush, and I've just been chucking it around in places like on hair and stuff like that. And I don't know, it just makes the page look a bit more. You know, it looks more manga-ish, but I'm kind of cool with that. Yeah, he does a whole grey wash, doesn't he? Yeah, that's cool. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. I mean, especially since all colors pretty much work digitally. Like, I don't think there is anybody doing traditional colors anymore. And you just, I love sending um, colors Photoshop files with a bunch of stuff on different layers. Not too much. Like I have line art, and then I have like details, and then gray. They're all separate layers, and panels on a separate layer as well, because colorists love that. So that the panels are always on top, and it makes a difference. It's cool. Oh yeah, that would definitely suit what you're doing. That'd be weird. Oh, my stream where I speak to myself and sound like a maniac. Look at that Robson face. Hmm. It's shitty. Oh, all I heard was it's shit. I was like, oh god. I figured out how to draw hair by looking at Todd Knock. The way, and he's a big Art Adams guy, so you can definitely see it from Art Adams. Well, thank you very much. I recently I've it's funny you say that because I'm like, did I forget how to draw hair? Because I recently feel like I haven't been drawing hair as good as I used to. So you know what? That sucks. I hate when that happens. Where you're like, like recently also I've been like, how do I draw thumbs? And I'm like, what the fuck? I hate that. Hey, Key Man. It's comfort. I used to work over my desk, and I had got growing back pains from it. And now I work on the iPad, and I sit on the sofa, or I lie down on the sofa. I'm currently sitting up, and it means that I can watch like my television in my living room. And the biggest bonus is that I get to hang out with my fiance while I'm working. So if she comes home from work, we can sit on the sofa and we can stick a TV show on in the background and we can chat. And I'm just sitting there working away, and that's the best. And also, I'll be moving next month, and I'm buying some outdoor furniture. And I'm going to get myself a big old umbrella and a giant, comfy outdoor sofa, and I'm going to spend the summers sitting outside and breathing in the fresh air as I work. And that's the great thing about the iPad. Um, yeah, being chunky does help because right now I'm sitting up, um, and I'm holding the iPad on. It's at the wide what's it called? It's at the horizontal way, and I have my hand spread palm on the back of it, and then I'm drawing with the other hand. But usually I like to lay down and then rest it on my tum tum and draw that way. And I've been drawing laying down since I started drawing comics. I used to lie in the bed with the Cintiq, and that's I don't know. I just find it comfy and it doesn't hurt my back and get stuff done. So it works for me. All right. Well, I'll get my fiance to take a picture of me doing it, and I'll send it to you. Well, I don't know. I've never had a problem with that. I tell you what does confuse me is that when I first got the iPad, I thought it was crap. But then I all I did was I played with some pressure stuff, and it made the pens feel more natural. Um, I cannot tell you what I did with that. I know I went into each of my brushes that I imported. I just played with the pressure settings until it felt right. I tell you the one thing that messed me up was I've been using a Cintiq for so long that it found it so jarring that I couldn't see my cursor before I drew, and I was like, where do I know to go? And you know what? That was a huge learning curve for me. And I think in the end, it's made me a better artist because now I'm just straight up drawing like I would regularly. Because I can't believe it's such a little thing that I relied on so much. Like I was like, oh, I can't ink because I don't know where the line starts or ends. Hmm. Oh yeah, I've seen those. Well, I just turn up the stabilization on my brushes so it makes it move a bit slower. Yeah, I'll be naked, so you'll get a good view. I tell you, you gotta play with the settings of the pen pressure, and you gotta play with stabilization until it feels as good as the Cintiq. Because I feel like a lot of people might just grab it like I did and be like, "Oh man, it's gonna be just like a Cintiq in my hand," and then it isn't, and you're like, "Oh my god, what have I done?" But I've made it so it's just like that. Hmm. Yeah, because a lot of people struggle with the smoothness of the screen, and honestly, cranking up the stabilization, just like if you look at the pen I'm using right now, I have stabilization on 100. And if you look, even though you can't see it, but I'm literally waving the brush up and down the screen right now, and look how little it's doing. You see that? It's that slow. But if I'm doing like a small stroke like this, then it's perfect. And I also have a second brush up here where the stabilization's cut in half. So if I want to do quick strokes, I can do that. So it's a lot of, just process stuff. Yeah, you just turn it down. It's easy. It's the best. Uh, yeah, I don't really understand the question. Yeah, yeah. Well, recently, I don't know. You know how I've always struggled with creating gray and rendering and stuff. Uh, Doing this Art Adams style for the first time with this deadline is the first time my most recent Eureka where I was like, oh, I know the form of this shape. So if I just put these lines in a certain way, then look, I've got gray. And then you zoom out on the page, you see the gray, and you go like, whoa, Eureka! But I remember the first one I ever had was I was when I was first trying to learn how to draw faces, and it was like 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'd been drawing faces all night, and they all looked crap. And this was like one of the first times I was like, right, I want to be a comic book artist, and I was studying Greg Capullo and I was drawing his like eyes, and then it's just the way you figure stuff out is like you keep approaching something and you realize you're drawing it pretty much the same way, but a simple thing like stroking the like your pencil the opposite direction, like instead of drawing an eye like I think I was trying to go like this, and I was like, how do I draw an eye? And then I was like, what if I go this way instead? And then you realize that the way you can draw like a brush. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Anyway, that was like my first big eureka where I was like, oh my god, I can draw an eye. And it made me realize like, oh, if I keep experimenting, then I'll figure out the way to do it. Etc. Etc. How about you? John's just been great forever, so he gets no eurekas. It's so weird, and it's just yeah, it's different for everybody as well. There's no like again, there's books where it says this is how to draw an eye, and there's some people that go got it. There's some people that are like what? It's just it's such you can't explain it, and people get hung up on such little things where like for me with rendering, how many times have you tried to explain rendering to me, and I was like I just don't get it, and it all just comes through drawing and practicing and figuring out your own way. Where it's like I said, like for me to draw an eye, it was I had to move the pencil in a different direction, and I was like, oh my god. Like you like, there's no way John could be like, "Have you tried moving the pencil in a different direction, like a cool center or something like that? Have you turned it on and off again or anything like that?" No, it's weird. Drawing is weird. That's very true. What's up, Mike? Mm-hmm. Fuck no, I haven't done that, and I don't think I've ever done that. I select on the outside of it, and I click my uh, action that does it. And I've been thinning that out recently. Like also, like I use a 1.5 for line my line art stage now. Like super duper thin. Are you going to sell your video game? If so, for how much? I will definitely try and sell it, but it won't be out for the next 5 to 15 years. But when it comes out, I'm going to try and get it on whatever system is people are playing it on. Yeah, I've been going a lot thinner and thinner and thinner because recently I've been looking at some of my favorite artists. And I'm like, damn, their art is so thin, and I'm like, find that really pretty. So I've been thinning it up. Right, this page is done. I think actually I need to add some gray, and then it will be done. Bloop. I do 1200 DPI. Why? I don't know. Why not? Yeah, and everything I do is on a monochrome layer as well. Yeah. Wait, what? Yeah, yeah. When you say contour, you just mean like the line around the shape, right? All I do is I click my button and it pops up in front of it. Then I put it behind it, and then the image now has a line weight around it. And then once I'm done doing all the line art for the panel, then I go to a different layer that's above all the others called Final Inks, and then I do my thin to thicks over that. Mm-hmm. No, I always keep it the same. But wait. Do you mean do I go over it with thin to thicks? Oh yeah, of course I do. No, I don't. I like my outside now is only like a one bigger than the other size. Like I used to do a big thick outline, but now I just keep it so I can keep the shapes separate and keep different layers with and stuff. But no, I got everything. Like if you go look at my screen, which panel should I show? Let's show this panel. All right, you see this panel here? I know I'm a bit lagged on your side. I can see that I'm not even at the panel yet, so I'm just going to turn it off now. And you see there's... I don't think it's turned off yet, has it? Because I'm watching it on my TV. Alright, you see it's turned off now? That's my line art stage. It's super duper thin, and you could see that the contour line around it is also super duper thin. Mm. And then when I once that's done, then I go to the final links and boom, beef it up however I see fit. Mm-hmm. I'm all about that thin to thick. That's my life story right now, from thin to thick, the Will Robson story. Oh, thank you very much. She's just heard some shocking news. Okay, let's put this puppy to bed. File save, that's very important. Oh, I lost an hours of work yesterday, or the other day. I was nearly done inking a panel, and then I clicked a weird button that made it crop to the selection I made, which was the size of an eyeball of a character, and then it just wouldn't undo. And then I had to just close it, and it hurt my soul. And then I reopened it, and that whole panel was gone. And I was like, and I still haven't re-inked that panel yet. I can't. I can't. I've already inked it. It's done, but it's not. It's not done. It's done, but it's done. Not done. Oh, so sad. Like, what should I? Oh, should I draw some epic action? Let's do some epic action. Oh yeah. So look, if you look here, you can see now how I'm using grey in my art. Just gonna keep distracting you from actually getting stuff done. It's a tone. It's 20. It's 10% noise. What's it say down here? It's 10% 80/0 noise under the materials. I have seen it, and you can barely see it, but it feels good for me. It looks cool to me. So, and actually, when you zoom out, it gets a bit darker as well. But yeah, it's cool. Look at that sexy thick line under his arm, making it. Um, I mean, he's a great colorist, but you can't really see too much. It doesn't matter. It's for me. It's for you guys. Do do do. Yeah. I've noticed that since working on the iPad, I don't click undo as much as I used to. I've seen some of my old videos, and I used to click undo like every other line. Nope, nope, nope. I just think it was a lack of talent and lack of confidence, lack of understanding of what I was actually doing. Like the only reason I started working digital was because it was a tool to make my art look more impressive than it was skill wise. It's like I can't really draw like a body, but look at this downloaded background. Doesn't it look amazing? Or look at this traced Jim Lee body. Aren't I great? Yeah. It's it's a funny thing I'm dealing with right now because this book I'm a bit behind on the deadline, and we're considering getting an inker in. And I was like, do you know what? If the inks do look great, because the inker that we might get is I consider one of the best inkers in the business right now. And I was like, if he can make it look great, then I'm happy to give up inks. Like, if I was just penciling a page of pencils a day, whew, the satisfaction of that. Because the thing about inking is like you have a page on your board for like a couple days, and oh, I hate that. That's why I've been drawing in batches recently. If you see, I'm hopping from different pages to different panels because it feels like it keeps stuff a bit fresh, and it means I'm not going to try and rush through a certain panel that I'm like, I just don't want to draw this anymore. It needs to get done. Yep. No. Yeah, and there's also times where it's like, I wish I was penciling right now instead of inking. It's like, well, go pencil. It's all got to get done. So just pencil it, and you'll feel good. And hey, if you're working, you're working. You gotta make it somehow entertaining if you're gonna be drawing all the freaking time. It's gonna be so much 3D modeling. Like 3D models are great. Can I draw a city? Of course I can. Do I have to? No, I don't. Am I going to? Sometimes, if I want to. You know what I like to do? I like to draw brick. I find drawing brick very peaceful. Um, it's one of those things where you can really just zen out and do. But do I? Sometimes it's like, do I want to draw a gun? Like I'll show you. There's a 3D model on this page. Yondu's holding a gun, and I've already drawn him drawing organic guns recently, and they just took ages. I was just drawing this one gun over and over. I'm doing it on another page right now. I'm drawing this gigantic gun, and I'm like, oh, like the perspective and all this stuff, and to make it all look neat and everything. So in this scene, he has a different gun. So guess what? He's got a 3D model gun with a couple of inks on it. Done. Yep. Oh, I guarantee a lot of people don't even see 3D models that don't draw comics unless the artist has done no work, like unless they've literally just exported it, and you're like, well, that it looks like a 3D model. Because I mean, I like to use 3D models, but I do final inks over them. Like I want them to look organic and part of the scene. Yeah, if it's just like a deadline 3D model with like, and you do the contour line on the outside, and you're just like done, then that's not going to be great. Oh, did I just hear a puss puss? Is that is that Zelda or is that Jessup? What's going on then? All right, that's got to be coming up real soon, right? Well, that's the end of the YouTube channel. I have I'm now only drawing pictures of my child. So Yep, it's the exact same thing. I think it's difficult to get new skills, but you got to make the time for it every now and then. Like I hadn't done it for at least 2 years, like studying, and then I had about a month off when I was in between books in March, and I dedicated a lot of that time to just studying and getting better. In terms of sharing, I don't really know what you mean by that. Oh well, I rarely do that anymore. I did it more, I think, because it was a communal thing to begin with, um, and I was learning at the time, so I found it fun to share what I was learning with people and all that stuff. But no, I don't do it as much anymore. Look, I appreciate anybody. I don't even need someone talking. I appreciate anybody that streams because watching someone do stuff for me is the best way to learn. For instance, like the pixel art stuff I've been doing, I've just been watching people create pixel art, and you just see what they do, and you go, "Oh, that's how you do that." And yeah, that's my favorite way to learn. Future Foundation. Yeah, it's a small company. They're a startup. Um, it's coming out, I believe, in August, depending on my dad, like how much I work. But also, if you pick up the Fantastic Four in July, then you'll see 10 pages of my art in the back of that as a preview to this book. hmm Shame that it's not me drawing the Fantastic Four, though, but that's okay. Well, I tell you what, I think I'm forfeiting the couple pages that we show the Fantastic Four in a coming up issue to the filler and artists, and I was like, oh, my soul. Because it's like, draw the classic Fantastic Four for like 2 pages. I was like, yes. I was like, it's all going to be all thing, everything. Like, it's going to be big, meaty stones, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I'm gonna have to forfeit that. Yeah, you could be like a sensei and teach them all the ways of drawing comics. Well, that's the way to do it. I mean, and also push all your failures on them as well, because then if they accomplish it, then it's like you accomplished it. So that's great advice. Are you a failed uh, high school football player? Well, make them the star quarterback and push them. Hi, Riddy Kung. If you're just joining the stream now, I am chatting with Jonathan Rector on his channel, which is Scribbles with Jonathan or Art by Jar. I don't know which one it is. Um, and you can't hear him on my stream, so if you'd like to hear the full conversation, hop on over to his channel and watch it. and you won't get dog snoring. She's out. Oh, she's been stirred. No, she's back. Well said. Hell yeah! I keep emailing McFarlane being like, "Let's do a cover," and he just doesn't respond. But that's fine. Whatever. Who does he think he is? What a chump. But I think he doesn't really care too much about 300. 301's the big one. Oh man, I can't wait to see Capullo's art on Spawn. Oh baby. Oh baby. I think he's just there for a couple of issues. And it's so funny because I watched an interview and I just loved how honest Greg was. Where it's like, so why'd you decide to come back to Spawn? He's like, it's giving me tons of money. I was like, that's great. I love that. I wonder who's going to ink it. Oh, I think McFarlane is actually, isn't he? Oh, baby. Oh, baby. Yeah, his stuff's changed, and he said like, "Oh, I changed my art style for the book I'm on." I'm like, "Buddy, you're back on Spawn, and it looks the same as everything else, but that's okay." Well, he's insane. He works nonstop. I work nonstop when a deadline's coming, but I do like to take the weekends off and some evenings off. But he works like nonstop. He just bought like a mansion in Arizona. I know too much about these people. I sound like a stalker. It's this social media. All of everything you said is all of it. It is a dream job. There are positives. There are negatives. Is it everything I thought it would be? No. It's it's a difficult job, and it's a job that you have to sacrifice a lot of your personal life towards. Like it's Saturday. What's John doing? He's drawing his cool characters. What am I doing? I'm working. Like, what do I want to be doing? I want to be playing Batman Returns on the Super Nintendo until I fall asleep. Can I do that? No, I can't. Well, we could switch the stream and make it a gaming channel. No one's ever done that, so we'll try that out. It's work. It is work. You get the job, and then you go to work. And a lot of people get the job, they can't work, and then it's not their job anymore. Doing one? Oh yeah. I just think it helps the eye see the thin to thick and what needs to pop more and stuff like that. And it also lets some of those lines get super thin, and that's what looks really cool. You know, like Danny Mickey, he like shaves down his Hunt 101 nibs to make like the tiniest lines possible. Like if you look at some of the old Spawn stuff, like some of the lines, you're like, how did you even do that? Like they're so small. Like you'd have to use like a magnifying glass and like just move like the tiniest bit of your wrist to like do these renders. What's scary about him is that he's an inker, but he loves to skateboard, and I'm like, that is just asking to not make money for like 4 months. You fall and break your wrist, like what are you gonna do? Well, there's that great book by Darren Warren Johnson called Extremity. Have you read that from Image? You'd fucking love it. It's all like in a sort of futuristic fantasy sci-fi setting. But the whole point of the thing is that there's these like rival sort of tribes, and this one tribe goes to the hero tribe. They kill this person's mother, and then they chop off this person's hand. And this person is an artist, and one of like the only artists in the group. And they didn't want anything to do with war. All they wanted to do was draw. And like this whole book started from Darren being like, my biggest fear is having someone, chop my hand off because I can't play guitar and I can't draw anymore. And he's like, well, I wonder what that would be like. So he wrote that story. And it's a kick-ass story. So if you want to read a good book, read that and you'll be like, dude, this is awesome. And many extremities are lost in that book. Oh, look at that hand. That's a nice hand, John. It looks great. Like my brain knows what it means, so it's great. I'm so jealous you get to watch Double or Nothing tonight. You get to watch it live as well. Watching it live, that's way more exciting. And I'm gonna have to stay off social media tomorrow because freaking like if you like wrestling, never mind like people that watch Game of Thrones or the Marvel movies. People that watch fucking wrestling, you'll go the next day and they'll just post an image, be like, "Can't believe this guy won or showed up," and I'm like, "Fuck me!" Like, what's the point? Oh, it's so bad. You know who's guilty of that? John Lees. I'm calling you out. Oh my god, he is spoilerific for wrestling stuff. Like I didn't watch. Like I went to watch Money in the Bank, and I was on the day after. And on his Twitter, he's like, "Oh, I can't believe Brock Lesnar's back, and he won the thing." And I'm like, "Well, there goes that excitement. Thanks very much." I like Brock Lesnar, so I was fine with it. Builds heat, doesn't it? It's major heat for him doing that. And now people want to see him, suffer because of it. I think it's fine. He's great. I love Brock Lesnar. I love his matches as well. He just stomps people up. So good. He is like the Hulk. He's like the Hulk. He's like the Hulk with a symbiote around him. Like he's gonna fuck you up. He's Red Hulk. Yeah, and you got to remember though that the thing about Marvel Comics is you want to draw Captain America and the Hulk, but you want to draw the Captain American Hulk you grew up on, right? And you have to draw the Captain America and the Hulk in the costumes they have currently, which is, I'm telling you, it's not the same. Like I got to draw Thor the other day. I was like, sweet, I'm drawing Thor. And he's like, he's got a gold arm and he has a full beard and he looks like this. And I'm like, it's cool and all, but I want to draw the big goofy fucking helmet with the feathers on it and Mjolnir and all this stuff. And they're like, nope. So it's a weird thing because that's when it just becomes like a job again. That's why like you get those red chances. Like I said, coming up, I'm going to get to draw Captain America in his classic costume, and that's great. That will be a good day at the office. But how often does that happen? Once in a very blue moon. Hurts a lot. Yeah, that's the same guy. Yeah, if you like Motor Falcon, then you'll love Extremity. Darren's a really, really nice guy, and he deserves all the success he's had of the recent past years. Um, I don't. I feel like no one's going to go over clean on the first pay per view because is this their third time meeting? Right. So this is the second time. And remember, the whole big thing is Tony Khan is all about keeping stats and like stats matter and all this stuff. I think, I think win or lose, it doesn't even matter for either of them. They're so big that you know they're like. I mean, they're not comparison, but like people like if you watch Rock versus Stone Cold, it doesn't really matter who wins or loses. Like they're both still going to walk away being The Rock and Stone Cold. And Jericho and Omega are not that level because no one's ever going to be that level again. But they're certainly a modern day version of that. So um, a loss for either of them is not going to hurt them at all. It's all about going to be what's the story they can weave. Is Jericho losing going to make a better story? I think Jericho winning, maybe in a dirty way, would give him a lot of heat and be able to build stories that way to have someone step in to try and beat him in the future, like Cody or someone like that. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm looking forward to the battle royale because I love me a battle royale, and I love this idea of this. You get given a card, and it's like your entry number and stuff like that. Well, they did on the last pay per view. So two pay per views with rumbles. Like, I mean, everyone loves a rumble. Like, it's such a easy thing. It's like, do you want to watch battle royale? Yes. Do you want to see old wrestlers pop up like Bubba Ray Dudley and the Hurricane and all this stuff? Yes. Okay, watch this. Okay, I will watch this. Do you like to see people chucked over the ropes. Yes, I love that. Okay, well then watch this. Yeah, me too. I'm calling it. I think Kenny's probably the best wrestler in the world right now. Hmm. Yeah, yeah, and you know what? JR is going to be commentating it. Like, how amazing is that? They'll be like, "Oh my god, he just ripped Kenny in half!" Like, oh, I can't wait for that. Right, and we never heard from Jonathan Rector ever again. I'm sorry if you're not a wrestling fan. This make no sense or be very boring to you, but it's good. It's good stuff. Um, Wrestling storytelling in Japan. Do you watch BTE? It's the YouTube channel by the Young Bucks, and it's a weekly show. Yeah, it's good stuff. Who else is on the card? Cody versus Brother, which I'm not really too excited about, to be honest. No, yeah, that's fine, but you know, I love Cody, but I don't. I think Goldust is mm, put him out to pasture. Like, like it's cool and all, but I don't know. You know what I'm calling as well. I think Dean Ambrose is going to show up at Double or Nothing as his new persona, because that he's been very quiet about that. But also, it's so weird because WWE gave him such a nice send off, and like they they were like retired him, and they even had like a special night where like, and I was like, what is going on? They'd never do this. Or but then I was like, are they doing that to show like that they're good sports or something like that? Like, I really don't know. It's really unlike that. Yeah. So do they just appreciate him? Or like, I don't know. Are they trying to get in his best book because they'd like him to come back one day? I don't know. It's so weird. I've never seen anybody being like, you were so great in this company. We love you. And like, let's look back on your life at this company. And well, it's so weird. Calling it now, Sting's gonna show up. The Stinger. Who? Oh, Joey. Joey. Is it Ryan? I love. Yeah, I mean he's gonna be in it, right? Yeah, I know he's. I think they've teased that he's been talking with WWE and stuff like that. But he's in all of the Being the Elite YouTube videos recently. So, and his whole gimmick is great. He's the Val Venus of of the modern day. It's great. Did you see him giving titty suplexes? Oh, so funny. Yeah. Yeah, who do you think will win at Double or Nothing? I'll watch some wrestling tonight, boys. Yeah, he's got a new name and stuff. He released like a whole high production video as well, and that's another thing that people were like, is he still in WWE? Is it a work? And it's so confusing. I mean, I think everyone would be disappointed. Oh, sorry. It's like I'd be very disappointed if he ended up like that was his like new video for Ring of Honor or New Japan. Everyone would be like, oh, really? Oh, it's exactly that. I've been thinking that constantly, and that's why it's exciting. I think, yeah, like it's exactly, it's the same thing because the whole thing is it's a wrestling show made by wrestlers, like for wrestlers, and like that's what Image was like, made by artists for artists, and they know how to treat the business. Like my favorite thing about AEW is they're like, guess what? There's going to be no scripts. Like you're going to be given like, hey, this is what we're going to talk about, but you got to sell you that, and like that's what the whole Attitude Era was. Because my God, it's so painful to watch WWE today. Like I just watch it now as like a laugh, watching them like fully scripted because it's so painful, and they can't curse or anything. And like I think AEW is not like, hey, it's not going to be all like shits and fuck, but like there'll be some stuff. Um, and yeah, it just feels like the way it should be because the Attitude Era was lightning in a bottle because they had so much talent and everything was going right, and the creativity of all these people was awesome. And that's what I think wrestling is missing nowadays. If you remember, like when I used to watch wrestling, like when you'd hear Stone Cold's music and he'd show up, you're like, oh my God, he's here. Like you don't that doesn't happen anymore. You can't get excited about anybody. Like you can a bit with like Brock Lesnar, but he was around during that time, so it's weird. Like the only people I give props to in WWE now is the New Day because they write all their own stuff, and guess what? They're really successful in the WWE. Kofi Kingston is the champion, so it's stupid to me. I don't know. It depends on who you work for. I know Marvel will pay you enough of a living wage. I think IDW will as well, though it's much lower. DC is a little bit lower than Marvel, but they have a better royalty scheme, and Image is your way to go because you make the big bucks in Image. So any of the other places, like the smaller branches, like I would even consider Dark Horse a smaller branch now. Though that's not true because I think some place like it. Oh, I'm so confused because sometimes I hear Dark Horse pays as much as Marvel, and also what's the other place? Where's Heather Antos working now? Valiant, I think. Yeah, they pay normal rates, so that's good. But there's places like Boom and Dynamite Comics, and I've worked with both of them. Great people, great business, but they do pay a lot less. And IDW does pay a lot less as well, but they're great people, great business. It's just that's the way it is, and I think they know hiring people doing that. I think it's sort of understanding that it's not really going to be. They like the artists that work for them probably have other ways of making money. They don't just make it off of those books. A lot of people do the con stuff, the Comic Con stuff. So is it true? No. It just means that they're lazy and they're not putting in work. Also, show me where people are talking about this. I want to see what these people are saying, and I want to see how wrong their information is. They're like, I heard at Marvel you only get $25 a page. Who can live off of that? Yeah, like I said before, I was making 6 to 8 grand a year drawing indie comics. If you want to draw comics, you'll do that. Richard says Jericho he brings a lot of mainstream fans with him, and he'll be. Oh, I missed the rest of it, but yeah, you know what, that makes more sense as well because he is bringing retired eyes to the company. I mean, I would even consider you like a recent rewatcher of wrestling stuff, and was was Jericho a draw for you? Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, me too. Well, you are. That's must be. Oh yeah, he's a big Street Fighter guy. I mean, it must be tough for you. Two Canadians going at it. Like, what are you gonna do? Well, no, they're both Canadian. Oh yeah, yeah. Have you seen the Street Fighter tournament between the New Day and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega? It's so good. And does Vince know about this? Because I feel like he would not allow this, right? You can't. You can't even see like WWE doesn't even acknowledge that there are other wrestling companies. So to have like wrestlers from different companies like fighting each other, I was like, I bet someone at WWE's like, who let this happen? But they're the New Day, so they're like, we can do whatever we want.